is the virtual joint budget and finance committee meeting and special call committee of the whole meeting for Monday, March 22nd. It is 3:30 and I hereby call the meeting to order. We have our second item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting. Is there a motion for approval? Okay, I didn't hear anybody.
I move for approval.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Yeah, it's easy to mute and then forget. Okay, we have a motion that has been properly seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes of our last meeting are approved. Now we are to consideration of the consent agenda. Does anyone have items for consent?
Mrs. Adams, Mrs. Abbott, I have some items.
I'll answer to anything. Hey, you. Okay, which items would you like to place on consent?
All right, thank you. I'd like to place on page 2, item number 6.
Okay,
On
6.
Yes, on page 3, items 7, 8.
Okay,
On page 4, items 9, 10, and 11.
okay, I'd like for 11 to stay off just so we can hear what we're accomplishing with that money.
Okay, perfect. So then on page 4, that's just items 9 and 10. On page 5, items 10 and 15. 6, item 16. Page 7, items 17, 18, and 19. Page 8, items 20, 21, and 22. Page 9, items 23, 24, 25. Page 10, items 26, 27, 28. And then on page 11, items 29, 30, and 31.
Okay, I would like 29 to stay off so we can hear what we're doing.
That one too? Okay. So then just on page 11, that will be items then only 30, 31. I want to repeat those back.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Okay, I'm going to, Counselor Smitherman, are all of those items for consent okay with you?
Yes, Counselor Abbott.
Okay, so do I hear a motion on the consent agenda? Oh, and we do have an addendum. We need to add the addendum, which is the historic district for Druid Hills. Do I hear a motion to add that item?
I move to add addendum C to the agenda.
Second.
Okay, so now we are ready for consideration of the consent agenda. Does anyone want to add that addendum item to consent? Or do y'all want to hear it because it's an addendum?
I'd like to hear it if it's okay.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. I'd like to hear it too. I'm very much in favor of historic districts, and I'm happy to see that someone's interested in them. Okay, we are ready for a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so our first item is item number 4, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute and deliver an agreement with Alethea House Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $387,244 pursuant to Section 11-40-1 Code of Alabama 1975 to contract for authorized goods and services. Alethea House Incorporated will provide application intake, screening, and case management services to support the program administration, management, compliance, and financial reporting required to administer the Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program. The city received approximately $6,272,000 $272,092 to provide rental and utility payment assistance to landlords and utility companies on behalf of eligible low to moderate income households that have experienced a loss of income due to the coronavirus pandemic. The city desires to retain Alethea House, Inc. for client application intake, screening, and case management services to support the program administration, management, compliance, and financial reporting required to administer the Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Okay.
So is Chris Hatcher here to discuss this with us?
Yes, ma'am. Chris Hatcher. I serve as interim director of community development, and I'm here to answer any questions that you have about the program or about the item on the agenda.
Okay, council members, what questions do you have regarding this item? Or do you want to, Mr. Hatcher, do you want to just give us an overview of why Alethea House was selected and
Yes, yes. We released the RFP for the application intake, application screening, and case management services. I don't have the dates in front of me, but it did go through a competitive RFP process. We did receive two RFP responses, and Alethea House was selected from the two respondents. One of the main reasons Alethea House was selected was their costs for providing these services was significantly lower than the other entity, and they were providing the same services, so to speak. So under the guise of the RFP, the respondents were to properly staff the program, and also they were to provide a call center to take care of all the customer service requests and complaints associated with the program. So Alethea House put together a very compelling plan, and they were very responsive to the price, which was we have a cap. We can't spend over 10% over the proceeds that we receive from the Treasury to administer the program. So, one of the reasons they were chosen was they had a lower price, and that allows us to use the funding to provide additional benefit to our residents instead of paying them, spending it on administrative costs. I think you're still muted, Councilor Abbott.
yeah, I keep on pushing the button and it keeps on going back.
Okay.
So council members, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Hatcher?
I do have one, if I may ask.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hatcher, for bringing this information. Of course, as on the Utilities Committee, we do get a lot of questions regarding rent and utility assistance. So I see the city will have an opportunity to use these funds to help our residents. I just wondered, within the RFP or how this would be administered, will this be on-site or a mixture of on-site and online applications? Or is that included in the RFP? How would you distribute those funds?
Yes, it will be a mixture of on-site and online applications, hopefully more so online. But that was a part of the RFP. The city, you all a couple of weeks ago approved the acquisition of the online portal that the city is providing. Alethea House and their staff will have administrative access to that online portal to do the application review, screening, and case management. We are also in the process of setting up a remote site schedule to where those residents who have technological barriers as far as applying online, they will be able to come to that remote site and speak to staff at Alethea House, or a combination of staff at Alethea House and city staff, community development, in order to facilitate their application being completed and processed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions?
I just have one question. How were the households selected? Like, what was the criteria? I know it says low to moderate income, but what was the criteria for people to be able, or households to be able to qualify?
Okay, first and foremost, they have to prove or self-certify that their rent or utility payments that are in arrears is subject to COVID, is caused by COVID. Okay, once they have proved that, then they have to be either 80% or below of the median area income for, the Birmingham metropolitan area or Jefferson County to qualify. Those are the main two. There may be some other subcategories that they will have to provide information for that's more so related to HUD qualifying. The Treasury deferred to HUD qualification standards. So, if they apply and they show that they have, assets in the amount of a certain amount, that may, impact whether they qualify or not. But that's on we feel that those will be minor cases in these circumstances. But as long as they can show or verify that their rent is due to loss of income that's due to COVID, then they should qualify as long as they meet those income qualifications.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, if there are no other questions, do we have a motion?
I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so that item is approved and will be sent to the full council. Our next item is item number 5, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a 3-year agreement between the Birmingham Jefferson County Transit Authority and the City of Birmingham for the purchase and installation of ticket vending machines and infrastructure to support the addition of the Birmingham Express BRT system through the delivery of managed ticket vending services, installation, and consulting services for the 32 stations equipped with TVMs and 11 buses equipped with ticket validators for the BRT project. The BJCTA will purchase and contract for the installation of ticket vending machines for the BRT project in accordance with bid laws applicable to BJCTA. The City of Birmingham will provide funding to BJCTA for the total cost of the purchase and installation of ticket vending machines for the BRT project using Tiger Grant funds. Do we have a motion?
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. Who is here to speak on this item?
Counselor, you got to give. We got Miss Charlotte Shaw that's on the panel's list. If she can unmute herself and give the council an update.
Okay, good, Ms. Shaw.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have this opportunity to just give you a little update. This particular item is for the ticket vending machines. We expect it to be an estimate of about maybe a little over $1 million. It just depends on when the bids come in. We needed these bids to be properly evaluated by BJCTA. They will ultimately be the company who will have to operate these ticket vending machines with the BRT. And just in case you all don't know, and I'm sure you do by now, we are under construction at the West Construction site. So the sooner I can get these bidded, the better, because actually there's a little bit of a lead time for these items, anywhere between 6 and 7 months. And as you know, I am running against the clock, but it appears that we're on schedule to get them in as long as we can get them approved.
Okay, are there any questions from members of the committee? Well, you were so thorough. We know all the answers now. Thank you. And
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
We do have a motion that has been properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so that item is approved and will be sent to the full council.
Thank you.
Now, thank you very much. Our next item, as I scroll down here, is item 11, which is an ordinance to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021 by transferring $333,233 from PEP Consulting and appropriating $333,233 to non-departmental transfer to Fund 102 Capital Improvement. An ordinance to amend the capital budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021 by appropriating $333,233 to PEP Consulting for capital projects. Can we just hear which capital projects this consulting will be for?
I'm sorry, I'm talking. Miss Abbott.
I'll answer to
Um,
almost anything, even hey you, so I have to go with it.
So in your packet, it included a list of the capital projects that were being transferred. So these are just the consultant fees to help offset the scope that staff cannot do. So the logic behind it was basically these projects they spread across different fiscal years. So we wanted to transfer the money out of the general fund and put them in the capital fund. So as the projects close out, we can go ahead and pay the consultants for all the design fees and the closeout fees. So in your packet, it was like close to 15 different projects. I'll name a few. Is the Negro Southern League EDT, the Oxmoor Valley parking expansion, the City Hall exterior envelope, bidding document hosting service, the Boca BRT, what Ms. Shaw was just speaking on, and Fire Station 19 lentil designs. It's in your packet. It's a long list that adds up to that $333,000. We can actually send this back out to you if you need us to.
Okay, well, and it's my fault for not seeing it. Sometimes I look at things and skip over and miss things. And I just wanted to know, because we have a lot of council members who are waiting on their projects, plus the city has projects. And so I just wanted to know who we could expect to be hearing from in the near future.
Right. So that would be Miss Denise Bell, who serves as the Capital Projects Director. She'll be in contact with those council members where projects are in those districts, like per se on the Oxmoor Valley parking expansion. She will be having that conversation with Council Alexander, give her updates and so forth.
Yeah, because sometimes they kind of forget the council members and leave us out of the loop, and we don't want to be left out of the loop. We like being in the loop because sometimes we actually have, worthwhile ideas that will help save money. And I know everybody wants to hear worthwhile ideas that help save money. So anyway, so let's see, we need a motion and a second for this item.
So move.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So that item passes and will be sent to the full council. Let's see, our next item is item 12. Correct, ladies? Item 12, we wanted a speaker on that one.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a redevelopment agreement with Zimmerman Properties SE LLC, a North Carolina limited liability company, hereinafter referred to as redeveloper, under which the redeveloper will redevelop property known as the former Inslee High School, located at 2301 Avenue J, Birmingham, for a mixed-use development, and the city shall convey the redevelopment property to the redeveloper for a purchase price of $50,000 and no hundreds dollars, which the city has determined to be the use value of the redevelopment property as defined in the Code of Alabama 1975, Section 24-2-6A, and shall further provide certain incentives in the form of a city grant of up to $1,500,000 in connection with the project, and that providing the city grant will promote the economic development of the city, constitutes a public purpose, and is authorized by, consistent with, and in furtherance of the objectives of amendment number 772. I must have left a word out somewhere in there, but anyway, we get the gist. So is Ms. Dothard on the call?
I don't see her counselor on the list. I think Kelvin Datcher
Chaz.
may want to speak about it. There you go.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Council. Kelvin Datcher, Director of External Government Affairs, pinch hitting for Ms. Dothard. She had a family emergency, and our thoughts are with her. But I am actually in line for a ride at Disney World with my son on his 10th birthday. But I did want to make sure, it's such a big project, I wanted to make sure that you guys got everything you needed. So this is a part of a 244 affordable housing unit development on the Inslee High School site that will be complete with a brand new grocery store at the site where the gymnasium is. We committed last week, the council passed $1.25 million in home funds to support the affordable housing units. This $1.5 million would go to support the blight removal for the burn structure, as well as the conversion of the site in preparation of the site and the recruitment of a grocer there in the heart of the residential area in Inslee. The CDA, if you guys remember, was about a $13.1 million redevelopment refunding. $4.1 million went to Caraway for blight removal there. The mayor promised that the council members would have input into the use of these dollars, and this is an extraordinary $56 million development right there in Inslee. Again, 244 residential units, and most importantly, a grocery store that would serve that community right there between the Tuxedo development, this new development, and the residential area next to the park. So it's really kind of a home run, and I wish Ms. Dothard was here to take credit for it. I hope I certainly don't want to do it, but it's really a magnificent project, and with the city only committing about $2.75 million to a $56 million project that provides this many affordable housing units and a grocery store, it's really kind of an incredible win for the city. And I can take any questions you may have.
Do any members of the committee have any questions regarding this item? Is the answer no? Okay, no. When I saw that palm tree behind you, Mr. Datcher, I kind of figured you weren't in Birmingham anymore. So I hope you're enjoying yourself, and we appreciate the information on this item. All we need now is a motion and a second.
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. This will be sent to the full council for
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
consideration. Thank you, Mr.
Council.
Datcher. Have fun.
Yes, ma'am. Mickey's very expensive, by the way, in case anyone knows. He's a lot of fun, but he's very expensive.
Okay. Okay, our next item, let's scroll on down here. A lot of scrolling going on. Okay, our next item is item 29, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with O2 Ideas Incorporated to provide studio time, scripting, ad placement, and communication services on behalf of the Birmingham City Council for a term ending June 30th, 2021, in an amount not to exceed $50,000. And my only question was here is exactly what is this for? Studio time and scripting in place. What are we doing? Does
Council
anybody
Abbott,
know?
this is Cheryl Kidd. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, councilors. We were directed by President Parker to do pretty much what you guys did early on with the COVID spots that you all created. He wanted to continue this around the vaccination and still COVID awareness in our communities. And he mentioned some reapportionment awareness also. So it would be continue to do studio times for the counselors again to be on air, radio, also there would be some spots that we would get on the local TV stations, and we would also use those same spots to put on our social media platforms.
Okay. Well, I had two different constituents ask me why we're spending money on something like this when the city is in financial difficulty. And, you know, I was kind of having a hard time answering that question. So I thought I better confirm what it is that we're doing with the money, because I do agree that, you know, people are more interested in having streets paved and sidewalks fixed than they are in listening to us talk. Hate to say it, I wish people loved listening to us talk, but they don't seem to enjoy it as much as they might. So,
Well, we're hoping that you guys can get them to get vaccinated, which will make all of us safer. Is, I think, the
yes,
premise around this. So, but again, it's before the council.
yeah, okay, well, I just needed to ask for my own needs, so.
Yes, ma'am.
And I do believe, I mean, I've now been vaccinated. My 2 weeks is up, so I'm about as protected as I'm going to get. And I certainly want everybody else to be in the same shape that I'm in, because even though I'm still doing everything the same, I feel less stressed knowing that my chances of getting COVID are less, and therefore my mother's chances of getting COVID are less. And I just can't, I can feel some sense of stress relief. I may be the only person who's, you know, kind of been freaked out about this whole thing, but I just have this fear of bringing it home. And so, yes, I am in favor of us encouraging people to get vaccinated, and I hope everybody will. Hope they'll
Yes,
listen.
ma'am.
So anyway, thank you very much, Ms. Kidd. Do
Absolutely.
we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 So that item also is approved, and now we just roll down to one of our favorite items, item 32. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding item 32?
I move for adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. It has been
Council,
moved and properly
Councilman.
seconded. Yes.
Addendum C.
Oh,
You forgot about the addendum.
Well, we
Sorry.
said we wanted to hear about Druid Hills, and then we forgot.
Yes, sure
Okay,
did.
well, so I should have written it in here. If I'd been a smart person, I would have. So anyway, so we are to, let's see, what did we number that one? 31C, 31B? Whatever we numbered it, Druid Hills. Mr. Mitchell, are you going to present to us, or is someone else?
Someone else will. I have Ms. Carla Calvert and Ms. Paige Thomas that can speak on that item.
Okay.
You got to unmute yourself, Paige.
I just wanted to say too, thank you so much for letting us, allowing us to be added to y'all's agenda today. What we're asking for is basically, we are wanting to move forward with making an application to the Alabama Historic Commission for a certified local government grant. We've had this type grant other times before. This is just so that we can apply for the grant. This would be for an architectural and historical survey of the Druid Hills area. And hopefully what this work would help establish is a foundation that could lead towards a National Register District nomination to maybe put some protection in place over the area and the historic structures that are there. The total project cost would be around $16,000, but what we're actually asking for is just kind of an allotment of funds. We would be doing an in-kind match with just donations of staff time. The city would have to pay upfront some costs for the consultant, which wouldn't total more than $10,000, but then the Alabama Historical Commission would pay that money back to us, reimburse us for those funds. So really and truly, this would the match for just the city would be in kind.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? So this is basically just for all of the surveys of all of the structures that are remaining there to determine their historical significance if we get the grant?
Correct. If we're awarded the grant, the city would move forward in hiring a consultant, and then city staff would also, and under urban design and the historic department would also give their time. So this would just be laying the groundwork for the survey of each structure, like you said, seeing if it's contributing or non-contributing status-wise, and then also getting some more information on the history of the area.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions regarding this item?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
If we could just, you mentioned, and thank you for bringing this information to us. I think we're all excited for any type of recognition we have of our historical sites. And of course, this area is very important to the city. You mentioned a grant, a match. So can you just explain to me what would be as part of that grant application?
So the max portion would be all in kind. So it would be just a donation of services from staff. So the max wouldn't be monetary. It would just be donation of services.
Thank you.
Okay, well, one thing that has just popped into my mind is the fact that National Register of Historic Places designation actually gives you no protection whatsoever. And the local historic district is what actually gives you some protection. So is there an intent after this grant is procured and after the National Register designation is gotten to go ahead and pursue a local district? Is that the intention?
Yes, ma'am. So the neighborhood came forward and they were the ones that were kind of interested in getting the ball rolling. With the National Register, we intend to get it on the National Register or nominate it to be listed on the National Register. And then if the neighborhood chooses, we'll move forward with a local historic district designation process. What the National Register does is it will protect it if there is any kind of federal funds involved in a project, whether that be, say, expanding, and I know it won't expand this way, but like a roadway, or if the city is doing something with some federal funds around the area and wants to expand kind of into the neighborhood, then that would trigger a Section 106 review process. So it would kind of allow for, if any federal funds come through that would change the character or the district, that would make for a review to happen so that any kind of mitigation efforts might be made, or just to try to ensure to keep that neighborhood intact. So that's kind of the good thing about the National Register District nomination. I think for this area, it's good because we do see a lot of kind of movement around the BJCC and stuff, and the development that's happened in recent years. So I think if it was nominated to the National Register and accepted by the Park Service, it would give some protection maybe for future expansion. That doesn't necessarily mean that expansion wouldn't happen. There would just have to be a review in place for those funds. And then we can move forward after the acceptance of the National Register nomination, or even with just these surveys in place, is really all that's required by our ordinance if the neighborhood Druid Hills, after getting some more information, would like to move forward with a local historic district designation.
So if I can just ask one more question, I know that this probably isn't relevant to what you're asking, but when the historic district vote is taken, like let's say the neighborhood decides it wants to become a local historic district, when that vote is taken, do the people get to vote who have non-contributing structures, like somebody who built an apartment building 15 years ago that, it's definitely not contributing anything to anything? Do they still get to vote on whether to have a historic district? And if so, do you know why?
Well, it's because, that's correct. Each property owner or each property would get a vote on whether or not it wants to be included in the district. And it's because it is even if it's non-contributing, it's within that boundary of the neighborhood. So each local historic district that we have currently, a lot of the guidelines are based on a draft but then the neighborhood can kind of make it to where they might tweak some things to better fit their neighborhood. So for example, I know there's one local historic district that I was recently looking at, and the way they kind of worded things for their residential guidelines were that the rules that they had set forth did apply to contributing and non-contributing properties. And that if the owner wanted some of a non-contributing property, wanted something different, that was something that the local historic advisory committee or local neighborhood group could consider. So it's kind of written in where the non-contributing buildings were more or less supposed to follow the same guidelines as the contributing buildings. So that's just one example of one neighborhood, how they were trying to add a little bit more protection of just, you know, being able to just approve anything for a non-contributing building.
Okay, okay. And I guess every property owner, regardless of whether they reside in Birmingham or in the community, still has a vote.
Correct.
That's too bad.
It's, you know, especially for some of these neighborhoods, it gets really difficult. You know, you want people that are actively, you know, one of the things about having these nominations in local districts is you want property owners that are really invested in their property. And a lot of times those property owners are the ones that actually live in the property. So it can be unfortunate when it comes to the vote.
Yeah, well, we have that issue in Glen Iris right now. The slumlords all live in the suburbs and the citizens live in the neighborhood. And it's unfortunate, but I'm not sure I see a way around it. Of course, I'm not, maybe if I was a smart attorney, I'd know. But anyway, a way around it. So at this point, we need a motion and a second for approval of this item.
I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 So that item is approved and will be sent to the full council. So now we can look at item 32.
I move for adjournment.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded twice. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for your participation.